Hey guys, this is Kevin here. This is part 2 of our March 21st podcast. Separated this podcast into 2 parts. First part, college basketball special. We got Chucky Hoops and Og the Dog going through the bracket, making sure that you guys have everything you need to set your March Madness up correctly. And this episode, Chucky Hoops stays with us and we go through some golf talk as well as the NBA. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow and like. Enjoy the show.
This is First Step.
You guys want to dive in? Chucky Hoops, you staying with us?
Let's do it.
Oh, I love that, dude. I love that, dude. Let's talk golf.
Ooh,
What a weekend we had, man. Let's talk about the players for a second.
I will say, this is the first weekend of the PGA Tour season where
exciting.
I was like,
Locked in.
finally.
Locked in.
Yeah.
I was locked in from
yeah.
Thursday. Not even. I was watching like live from the players. I was finally like how I am for a lot of the big tournaments, like for all the elevated events last year and in the year, like how I normally am for golf. Like
It was an exciting time.
We've
It was
talked
an
about it
exciting
here a bunch
weekend.
of times. Golf has been missing juice. It's a fractured sport, whatever, blah, 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 blah. This week was awesome.
So much fun.
Like just Sunday, I was texting both of you like in the group chat, like, this is awesome. I am locked in. Like, it is just big names doing big shots, like all day
Absolutely.
Sunday.
For the first time all year, the big
we
names
had
were
low
there.
scores.
So-
It was incredible.
So just a quick refresher. Players Championship, one of the hardest tournaments in the PGA circuit, you would say, right?
Yeah.
The deepest field, as they say.
The PGA Tours premier. Remember the
Right.
tour. The PGA
Right.
Tour doesn't own the 4 majors.
Exactly.
So outside of the
Right.
4 majors, this is supposed to be the 5th. This is their big event.
Right.
Pre-live. This was the biggest tournament outside of the majors.
Right.
So it's a big deal.
It's the only tournament where you winning it is mentioned on your resume. Whereas
like it's a
every
big
other-
deal. Like
every other
you didn't
tournament
win.
just
Oh,
gets.
he didn't win a majors.
No one
but-
talks about the FedEx champion.
Yeah.
No,
They all
that'll
talk
get
about
grouped.
this.
That'll get grouped with
that gets
everything
grouped
else. But
in with everything else. But it's like, oh,
might as well win
he's-
the John Deere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're a
exactly.
Masters champion, you're a U.S. Open champion,
blows my
you're a
mind.
players,
Yeah.
players champion.
But
you get what I'm saying?
Scotty.
So Scotty, first
Dominant.
player to ever win the player 2 times in a row.
Never been done.
Never been done.
Never been done.
We saw it live. It's
And
beautiful.
we saw a
It
lot.
was
Yeah,
awesome.
we actually, we did. We got to see history. That's what I'm saying. It was
We got to see history, man.
the big names. We got to see history at a huge tournament with a lot of history.
Yeah.
That's a shot at live because they don't have the history.
No, yeah.
They don't
Like,
have
that's
I
part
don't
of the
ha-
issue
I don't
with it,
hate.
like-
I don't hate that on live, but it does make something. Like I get it.
No, but look, like this
Yeah.
weekend was, and I don't want to get into this whole live PGA
No,
thing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
just a quick point. I know you're going to agree on me on this because we've talked about it before, but like this tournament, this is the most money that you can win on the PGA Tour is this tournament. So the money was there.
It was
Not-
$25 million per.
Not once was the money mentioned.
Right.
Oh,
it
that's
wasn't
true.
even a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe it's an ancillary story like it always is, and all these guys they're playing and they're playing for a huge purse this week. But that wasn't. It was like, this is the Players' Championship, the tradition.
Right.
All the past champions, the 16, 17, 18 finish.
Yeah.
Scotty trying to win back-to-back. It was just Xander trying to get over the hump. Wyndham Clark, is he the new big name on tour? We had a ton of stories.
Ton of stories. Let's just touch them.
Yeah, a lot of great
Let's just touch
betting.
them. Scotty Scheffler, obviously incredible. The beard is back. The
beard
beard
is
is making
back.
him play.
I don't want to say anything, but that was tiger-like.
Oh, we said it. We've said it here on the pod.
I don't mind. Look, I'll be
in
the
last
first to say,
5
look,
years.
what this guy is doing, ball striking
It's
wise.
Tiger.
It's just tee to green. He's unbelievable.
best.
I'm telling you, we haven't seen. Look statistically. Look
Yeah.
back. All these great runs by Rory, by Spieth, by DJ, by Brooks, like all these big names. No one's ever put up numbers this close to what Tiger. These are wild numbers
Yeah,
that this
they're
guy
But
is
very-
doing.
Scotty did this with
And,
only
like-
one great putting day. Usually, any tournament you don't win without great putting. He really didn't. He
He
putted
has an
well.
okay putting,
He
yeah,
putted
he has
well.
okay putting.
But it was Sunday that he putted great. But
Yeah.
he's doing tee to green and ball striking, and it's not a. This isn't. Hovland was incredible for a 3-month stretch last year. We've seen a lot of people go on runs.
Weird.
This is
Stretch.
yeah. This
third.
Tiger
This
Woods
is his
did. Tiger
third
Woods did.
season.
Absolutely.
We're now on his third. Like people forget.
Third or
This,
fourth?
no,
Third.
this
No,
is
third.
This is his third season putting up these kind of ball striking numbers. He had
Right.
the season where he caught
Where he
fire
won
and
the-
he
yeah.
won everything.
Yeah.
Then he had last year where
He couldn't putt, but-
he was like
still
the
winning.
worst putter on the PGA Tour, and he still won twice.
Still one, yeah.
Still won twice, and was still the number one player in the world because
Yeah.
he's hitting the ball that well that he doesn't need to putt well, and he's still the best player on tour. And then we go into And then we go into
The
this
start
year.
of this season, he was awful putting again. Kept that going.
Still struggling. And people have been saying forever, if he could finish middle of the pack,
It's Rory. Got him in the mallet.
Don't
Got him in the
get me
mallet.
don't get me
Got him in
Spider
the
mallet,
mallet.
baby.
don't start.
The
Do
spider
not
mallet.
start. Don't
The
start.
mallet.
But bringing up Bam is one thing. Do not bring up Rory on this podcast. That's a slippery. We will be here all night.
We'll
I
be
will
here.
die on this grave.
The guy's just.
But
been
look,
on
he
fire.
finally, if he finishes, we talked about it last week.
yes,
If Scotty finishes middle of the pack putting, you're never going to beat him. If this guy gets into the top 20 or 10 in putt, you remember, Tiger was also, when he was on these runs going
Also
crazy, he
average
was like,
putter?
he was the best putter.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
he was,
think
he
he
was
was
always
the
one of
best
the
at
top.
everything,
No,
yeah.
Tiger was always
Lights out. And majors putting. Like every time
and clutch putter too.
the greens got faster, Tiger got better. Like
Got it.
every time.
Tiger was always a good putter. He always was. The thing is, his ball striking was this good back then.
Sawgrass. The greens are firm, right?
Yeah, but this year they were weird because they were not firm, but they were fast because they got a lot of rain the week
Yeah,
before.
the
so
course
they were
was super soft.
It was probably one of the easier setups that
Okay.
Sawgrass has had, but nothing they
It
could
was
really
'cause-
do.
So it was. Remember, they also changed they moved this tournament up in the schedule now,
Right.
so it's
Used to be
it's
May.
earlier
Used
in
to
the
be
year.
later.
Used to be it used to be like in May.
May,
right?
yeah, it was
used to be
May.
in May, which was way different. It's a lot windier
Okay.
back then, so that the course is drier. It's just
Baked
different.
out, like
baked out. The
everything,
course
yeah.
is super fast, super hard. So we never got this. Then they moved it to earlier now in March. So it's a different golf. It looks way better on TV. Like the course was. Everyone was
and
talking like perfect. You saw it on TV. It looked beautiful. The grass is super green. Everything, but you run the risk of if you get a little bit of rain, like it's Florida. You saw what happened. Thursday they came out, no wind. All the rain was gone. The course is nice and soft, no wind, great weather. These guys torched. It was 20 under for the
Yeah,
Players'
you
Championship.
don't
that's
see
crazy.
people winning at that.
At that course, you don't see people winning.
We said
like
it before.
that, so.
We said it in the last podcast. It's usually like 10, 12.
Yeah, it's like 10, 12 under.
14 under, like
Yeah.
if
Tops.
someone pulls away.
Yeah, tops. But it was great. I was hot betting. So
Let's talk about that real quick. We went through a bunch of players last pod.
We did. I threw out a lot of.
Nailed it.
We nailed
a
this last week.
lot of top 20, a lot of top 10s. We had guys that we were saying were going to win. One of them being your man.
Wyndham Clark
Wyndham
crushed
Clark.
me.
Talk to me about him.
That was look. We talked about it last week. The guy's playing out of his mind. He's got this. I'm starting to get the same feelings I said last week of the young Brooks, where he just only shows up for these big tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
He already won his major. He feels a little more emboldened to just be more himself. He's
got like-
he's
he's
got
moving-
some
he's
swagger.
moving.
He's talking a little more in the
Yeah.
media. He's making comments, and then he's just. But he's showing the main point is he's showing up for these big tournaments. It's a big tournament.
Yeah.
Wyndham Clark's been on the leaderboard.
The course gets tougher, he gets better, and that's
This kind of crazy.
I can't stand him, but
Why?
just
Oh, his putting routine is super
his
annoying.
putting routine is
super annoying.
Super annoying.
He's super slow.
That's
He
what
just-
bothers you about him?
Dude, it's more
Oh
just
my
I'm watching him
God.
on
But, like,
TV. I'm like, dude, put the ball.
Every time
What
it's
are you doing?
What is
Put the fucking
It's
ball.
not even this tournament. It was the U.S. Open last year at LACC. He's just so slow how he plays, and like his caddy's helping him on every read. Like it just, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the same. But the guy's been
He's been playing well.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
and like he's hit his irons in a way that I think no one expected him to like sustain. And he's just like Javi said, every time a big tournament's around, he's been showing up in a way that Brooks did, and people. You saw Brooks for years just not get the respect he deserves in the odds.
We saw it. That's why I brought him up last week. I was like, man, this guy he was plus 5,000. Yeah. I was like, this is you have to bet this.
Put some
so we
respect
bet
in
it.
his
Yeah,
name.
yeah. I bet him to win. I bet him to win. I bet him top 5. I bet him top 10. So I won those bets. I didn't bet the win. I was sweating.
Oh my
man.
God. I just heard
brutal beat.
as a longtime listener, I just heard the famous Javi won when he says one.
It's every time, dude. Every time.
One.
We don't talk
One.
about it. The one. I want it.
I won.
One.
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 Like
One.
the number one.
Count.
One.
One.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. That's what you said right there.
That's what you should say.
Nailed it.
By the way, one. I know you come here every week and you talk Masters, and it seems like every week it's, by the way, Brooks or DJ, like one of those two you're betting.
Those are his line bets. That's what he's doing.
The one guy after this weekend that made me raise my eyebrow and say I like how this guy's game is shaping up before the Masters is Hideki. I feel like he's.
I haven't checked his
I
odds.
think he was over.
I agree with you on that.
He's somewhere in
I
the
just don't- I haven't
40.
watched his odds.
He's in the 30s or 40s to 1, and
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Just off the top of my head, I already know. That's
I'm looking it up
in there, spread
now.
it in there.
46-1.
Oh, there you go.
He's next to Minwoo Lee.
Yeah, because see, like that's the type of bet. I'm always looking for like the people that are
shots.
not long shots, but because remember the week of the Masters when the week of odds come out, they all change from the future.
When they lock in the field.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm always looking at guys like, oh, I know week of they're gonna fucking.
When do they send out invitations?
Oh, they already
already
did.
So everybody who's going.
Yeah,
That's like the whole Neiman thing.
yeah. Unless like now,
right.
like you'll still get an invite. Like if you win a tournament, then like you get in. Now it's just like only qualifying invitations.
Oh, you have
get
to
in.
win, or you have to.
Yeah, something like that. Or if you finish like in the top 50.
Got it. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry to ask.
Yeah. So this year it's been Brooks and DJ because their lines they're live guys, so they're gonna keep moving.
Yeah.
I love the Hideki one.
So
It's a great
Wyndham
one.
missed a fucking putt.
Oh,
which
that
if
was
you're
a
a
great
you're a
roll.
golfer, you know
Oh my
exactly how that
God.
feels.
I was
in and out.
I felt when that putt, I felt like I got kicked in the nuts. Like my stomach hurt
Yeah.
from watching
And
that.
you-
So
and you
I
weren't-
can't.
yeah.
And I was me, and I just lost a bet. Like,
Yeah.
The two
That guy's
I was
losing
being
a
a
lot of
degenerate
money.
POS.
And
like this guy was like, I just to think what that
That
guy
was crazy.
going, like,
The
that
two
ball
putts.
was so in the hole.
That reminded me of the Will Zalatoris in Brookline.
Yes.
Against when
Yes, that was another one. I didn't have a
when
ticket on him
the
that
Brit-
time, so it didn't hurt as much. But
what's the guy? Matt Fitzpatrick won.
Fitzpatrick.
And he had it in the heart and it just missed. And the other one it reminded me of was Jason Day when he left it short. I forgot
yeah,
which.
but see, that one he
but like
left
Wyndham
it short.
Clark.
This
more
ball
than
was
this one went in the
it was-
hole.
This ball was
This
in
one
the
in the
hole.
hole.
That's what I was saying. Like it was
I saw a clip on Instagram where it's like a picture of the ball, basically like how it's
you don't
when,
see
when
it.
the
Yeah,
ball's the most in the hole.
it's
Yeah.
most
and they're
in.
like,
Yeah.
this was Wyndham Clark's putt to win the play to force a playoff of the Players Championship, and then the bottom says he missed it, and the ball's like
in the
it
cup.
is so in the cup that I can't fathom. Look at that picture. Impossible. How the wild stat on this? Scotty and Wyndham runner up last week and runner up this week.
I know.
That
I was about
has
to say that.
I would have
That's
to,
never happened.
I don't even need to look it up.
never
I
happened.
know that's never happened.
Yeah,
never
that is
That
nuts.
has never happened. I don't
never
even need to look it up to know it's never happened.
I
That is
did look it up.
the
It was never
craziest
happened.
stat. Like that was
Yeah.
the craziest thing. But last thing on golf, I will say I had a ton of fun this week betting live on the players. It's going to be my new way to
Betting
bet
live.
and watch golf.
Sure.
So it's
I
not
always
really
struggle with that. Like
it's
how
not
to
really,
bet
so,
golf.
so it's not really live. So what I would do is right before, and for Woody's from my bookie, like it only comes out. Like I know other books have them a lot earlier, but mine would only come out. I've
hole
noticed.
before.
Yeah, it's maybe day of, a few hours before tea times, that kind of thing, where they bring out like and I realized it's the feature. The ones that my book puts out is the feature groups that are like on the ESPN or whatever,
Like
groups
whoever they're
that's
following?
being televised.
Yeah.
They'll put like those groups that you can go into that group and bet all sorts of prop bets. And so it was my favorite bet this week. I would bet like on the fun groups over total birdies for the group.
Yeah.
Love
that's
that.
fun.
And then if there's a player I really like I was doing a lot with Wyndham, I did it with Scotty. I bet Rory unders, birdies for the round.
Spieth.
Nah, that's Spieth. That's
Rory broke like a record for birdies.
No, I bet the second day because he was hot the first day, and I was like, "There's no way he makes 8 birdies again." And they had a crazy line, like total birdies for their round, and then total birdies for the group. And then sometimes if I like Wyndham versus some, I bet like the one on the
When you do
the
the
one
pair-
on,
when
yeah,
they
like
pair-
the
when they
one-on-one
pair 'em up.
matchup.
And they match them up.
So much fun to watch. That's part of the reason I was locked in. I was watching these featured groups. I'm working. I had this on. I was glued.
What we should do for maybe Saturdays, Sundays, we'll just sit there one day and go nuts on it.
It's really fun. It's just a fun way to watch because you bet the group birdies.
Ooh, maybe for the Masters.
I'm 100% doing it. I'm doing it for a million groups. And you're just rooting for birdies to happen. So every time there's a good
You're
shot,
pumped, yeah.
you're going
You just
crazy.
want
You just
good
want
golf.
people, you just want good golf. You want birdies to happen. You're hoping Rory misses every single birdie putt. It's incredible. It was like so much. It was so much fun. I had a blast at Players Championship. Finally, a 10 out of 10 tournament.
Nice.
Finally.
Good.
Can't wait for the Masters.
Just a few
Don't
other
care about
guys.
the Valspar this week.
Xander was all right. Rory played like crap. Or your boy, you were high on him. The one guy you were high on didn't play well. The one that
Wyndham was the guy with
no, the other guy, the one that you told me that we had to be high on, and he did awful. Justin Thomas.
Justin Tubbs. I'm high on him every week till he wins. I
man,
said that,
but
beginning
he
of the
doesn't.
podcast.
He's not even making cuts, dude. He's awful.
Nah, he's been
He
relax.
needs a new swing coach.
He's been good up until this last couple weeks and I actually watched his feature group because I was betting the birdies. Guy can't putt. It's been his biggest problem last year because what happens with JT is that he starts and
Spieth, both of them have been playing.
He's
pretty bad.
always, but they're different problems. Spieth, JT, balls. Sometimes his swing is good.
No,
Ball strikes the
his
hell
tee
out
to
of the
green's
ball.
always up there.
Tee to green is up there, but the problem is his putting has been so bad. At least from the eyeball test, I feel like every time he's got like a 4 foot, 5 footer, or a 6 footer, it's like, oh, you got to make like for birdie or for par, or even sometimes for bogey because he's playing bad. Like you need to make this to keep the round going. Like momentum builders, he never makes them anymore. He just doesn't make the big putts anymore. It kills his rounds. It puts too much pressure on his ball striking. Until he can figure that out, I'm gonna keep betting him. But
I'm gonna keep betting him till
I'm gonna go for a little while longer. I'll probably
all I
sprinkle
know
a
is
little
my
this
Scotty,
week.
my
but-
Scotty every time he plays, bets are gonna start coming through.
But
Finally.
the odds, like I looked at his
It doesn't
Masters
matter.
odds.
You still make. You still
I
make
want to
money.
bet him
You
every
still
He's
week.
make
like 7-1 or something like that.
Yeah, but it's, like for
You still,
golf,
you still make money. Like
I understand, but when you're looking at the numbers,
if we, it's like how we always say in golf. If you get those odds for an NFL game, you would take them every time.
yeah, I
It's
understand.
a
But you're playing against these fields are way bigger.
And
like it's
Rom's
not-
gonna be
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there, and it's
Maybe not for yes. Well, maybe
No,
the
major.
Masters.
Yeah,
are
but
true.
I
even
like
I'm
Scotty.
talking for the match. Look, I would not. I think he's going to win every tournament he plays in at this point. He's the guy to beat.
Yeah,
He's the favorite clearly to win the Masters. But I'm taking from a betting perspective as a bet because of he's 4-1, guys. 4-1 for a golf tournament.
It's a lot. I
Four
know.
to 1.
Let's talk real quick about the Bass Bar. It's in Tampa, Innisbrook, right?
Yeah.
Innisbrook, very hard course.
I'm just
One
saying
of
that
the-
because I'm on a high from the players.
It's one of the top 10 hardest courses on
It's a
the
good.
PGA.
It is a good. It's a great course actually.
Yeah, it's a high accuracy. Same thing. It's tree line, so you got to make sure you hit the fairways. You don't want to get off.
There's some decent names playing this year too.
But I was about to say, I know usually this is a very light field because
Not this year.
comes
Yes,
off
it-
the master
yeah.
or comes off the players. No one really wants to come into it, but we actually have a lot of people. Xander's in there at plus 700.
Huge favorite this week, huh?
Huge
He's-
favorite.
I think he's lower now.
He might be lower. This was earlier today.
I think
see
he's
him
like
at
plus
8-1.
6. I think he's like plus 650.
I see him at 8-1 here, but that might be early in the week.
So Sam Burns, 2-time winner,
Favorite pick this week, by the way.
Bermuda Burns.
Yeah.
plus
He
1100.
loves this time of year.
I'm a huge Sam Burns guy this week. I think there's kind of a horses for courses pick.
Okay.
Like this guy, he loves his course. He loves Bermuda. He usually plays. He's been playing really well.
He's won twice. This guy. This
No,
is
I'm saying like he's been playing really well this last stretch. Like this last
Two-time
stretch.
champion in this tournament.
Yeah.
2-time champion here. Always plays well. Like I think it's a great fit.
Also, you have Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, also
Again,
this
if
tournament
If
winners.
JT is going to be real this year, I don't know that I'll say he wins, but he has to contend in tournaments like this. He should be cream of the crop in
which
this
so
field.
far, and which is why I've been betting, because so far he has. If you look at his finishes, like his first few tournaments of the year, it was like a 3rd place, a 6th place, a 12th place. Like he was doing well in these smaller events because he plays a lot more now. And then we just haven't seen it in some of the bigger events yet. He didn't do well at the Arnold Palmer, didn't do well again at the Players, or just really had a bad Friday because I actually watched his full round on Thursday, and it was he shot 1 under. That 1 under, you're like, dude, like, how many putts are you gonna miss today?
Yeah.
Christ.
It could have been easily been
Yeah,
four.
should easily been 3 or 4 under, no sweat.
The guy I'm always interested in these kind of events is Cam Young, just because he's been like super mixed bag this year, and he's a guy that I think his game fits Augusta really well. I just don't know if if the potential we've seen in like his early career, if it's real or not.
Yeah, my thing with Cam Young is more like love him as a player. I'm like with you.
But was he
I'm with you on your
hot
take.
as a rookie and stuff like that? Or,
I still
or
think
is
he
it real?
has it. Like, and I think he's just some guy that, like, yeah, I guess we're trying to see if can he take it
He's
to the
learning
next
his game.
level or not. But like from a betting standpoint, I bet him a ton last year.
Yeah,
I
me
lost
too.
so much money on him. But
I
he
lost
didn't win
all the money on him.
shit. But this year, I'm just like I'm taking a stance. I'm staying away. He's officially one of those guys where I'm not betting him until I see it.
Right. No,
Like, we
I
just
get that.
haven't seen. I'm not gonna put a ticket on a guy that to win.
He has the same odds as Brian Harmon, who's shown
Who-
way more.
Yeah.
over
Again-
the last year.
Second favorite guy is Brian Harmon. That was gonna be.
I
like,
have
one of my
I had
big
him at
picks
plus
this week.
2,000. I don't know what.
Yeah.
he's at
Love
now.
Brian Harmon. Yeah, I got my same thing plus 2,000. When I checked, I actually bet. I put it right now. My only 2 tickets are Sam Burns, Brian Harmon. Brian Harmon, I only have a to win ticket. Sam Burns, I bet it's
Top five,
escalator.
top
Yeah,
10?
top the escalator. Top
I
5.
have
top
one
10.
more guy. I want to know what you think about him.
Give it to me.
Doug Gim. Doug Gim.
Interesting pick.
So he's been top 20 for the last 5 tournaments. He's getting a stroke every tee
Yeah.
he starts on. He's getting a stroke. And then last time, He's getting a stroke on every approach in his last 5 tournaments. So it's coming up and up. His numbers right now is as a top 5 player.
Yeah, look, Ginn, he's already he's a Florida guy, plays well on the West Coast on the Florida swing. We saw him make a run at the Players Championship last year. A lot of people liked him as like a top 20 bet, top 10 bet this year for the Players. He played well at the Players. I think he finished top 20
Yes,
he was up there. He was
this last one.
He finished top 20. Absolutely. He was up there. Yeah, because I actually remember I was going to put him in the big pool that we do for the big pool that we always do. I was going to put him in. I was actually in between him and I forgot who else. Somebody that didn't make the cut. It was brutal, but it was in between them two, and obviously I picked the wrong one. And Ginn finished. He shot like 12 under for the tournament.
Yeah, he hasn't gone anything less
plays
than top 20
great
in 5 rounds.
Yeah,
in 5
plays
tournaments.
right there. He's a good pick. I don't think he wins in Valspar,
But maybe a top 5.
But yeah, definitely. I would.
He's at plus. I think he's at plus.
What's
400.
his top 5s?
I don't know if this is for a plus 10 or for a top 10 or a top 5, but it's plus
I think the
400.
most I would bet on is probably top 10.
Yeah, I think that's top 10 plus 400.
Purely gut. This is just gut.
I've never thought about Doug Ginn in my life.
Me neither. But I was looking.
No,
up,
I like
I was looking up,
the
I was
research.
looking up research for these guys, and I saw them. I was like,
No, I like throwing it out. Yeah, it's
love
good.
it.
Hey,
this guy's
look,
playing phenomenal.
I might tell you on that top 10.
top
Listen, I
10
think I
on
got
that.
Chucky Hoops behind me this whole
Yeah, I
podcast.
know, right?
Dude. Now I'm nervous.
loving it.
I don't want.
He's loving
It's
it.
a lot of pressure. I don't want. This.
I'm not. I probably won't bet top 10 of it, but I will do. I do like it top 20. Do you have his top 20 odds there by any chance?
Yes,
I
think
could
they're
easily see
plus
him.
185.
Yeah, plus money.
Yeah,
Almost plus 2. Yeah, I'd take a top 20 on him. Why
awesome.
not?
Anything else about Valspar? It's like it's a fun tournament this year. It's usually a
Look,
boring.
it's a good tournament, but the truth is, for me, I'm hungover
It's
for the
Masters.
players.
It's
Yeah.
only
I'm-
thinking
And,
Masters.
and
from
right
now
now,
on.
from here on in,
I'll tell you what, dude. I've gotten so into college basketball in the last week
Yeah, that's my thing.
that like
I'm
we're
just-
talking about all these things, but I really don't.
Listen,
care
that's the
about
best part of the tournament is
betting-
Masters is
yeah.
the same week as the national championship game. So just ride.
What a
Ride-
freaking
We're basically
weekend.
we're riding March Madness.
just ride that wave.
I'm
ride
doing
that
college
wave
basketball
right
right
into
into
the
the Masters.
Yes,
Oh
there
my
it is.
And like
God, I love
not
March.
anymore because he retired from doing the college basketball national title, but Jim Nance every single year would call the national championship game on Monday night and fly to Augusta that next day
What a
to
life.
call the
What a
Masters.
life.
What a
And then
life.
go back to his home there right next to in Monterey, California, next to Pebble Beach.
and play his
Best life.
Replica
make-
seventh
his
hole.
replica 7th hole at Augusta.
What an asshole, dude. Fuck that guy.
dick.
God dang,
Dude,
screw him.
hey, you know what? The most privileged man of America, but he deserves it.
He
What a-
deserves it.
I'm not.
What a
Even,
life.
I'm
What a
mad
life.
about it because I'm jealous. I
I know.
want
Oh my
all that. I
God.
want all that privilege. God damn
He's
it.
so good at golf too. I love him as an
He's
announcer.
great. Like he's all around. Oh,
He's all around great.
Yeah, great.
Speaking of announcers, one more thing about golf. Last thing, Kevin Kisner on the
He's the best.
broadcast.
Loved it.
Awesome.
He's
Loved
so
it.
He
good.
has crushed it.
He should.
And he like
should
has so much
stop.
insight just being
yes.
in the tour. Like he knows what people
He
are
should
saying.
never
so
play
good.
again.
Like
Yeah.
he's like a. Yeah, he's like how Tony Romo was when he first came to the NFL.
No, I always hated
broadcast.
Tony Romo.
But
I
like
always
on
hated Tony Romo.
steroids. Like I love him better because
More like a Peyton Manning is what you're trying to
No.
say.
relax. But even more, because not even then. 'Cause look, I listen to a ton of. Anytime I see Kevin Kisner on a podcast, like I don't even care if I don't listen to
he's
the
great.
podcast.
He's
good. It's not a hobby.
I'm listening.
Ain't no hobby.
I'm listening to that interview. The guy's great. He's not the same way he is on podcasts. Obviously, he's like talking with the boys, but you still see like a version of that when he's broadcasting. But he's super. I don't know.
He just has a knowledge that,
The knowledge,
that these guys
the
don't.
way
He
he, says,
knows
the
these
way
guys
he describes
inside and
shots,
out.
the way the way he knows these players.
He's hung out with them. He's
Yeah.
had drinks with
I don't
them.
know, just
And
the
he'll
whole thing. He's
he'll
just
diagnose like
phenomenal.
a putting mistake someone's been making for years, like nonstop. He'll just be like, "Oh, that person's hitting it too much off the toe," and it's like by like micro inches, and you
Yeah,
can just
you're
tell.
just
it's,
like,
it's
what?
a trend, right? Like it's all this trend with all these athletes becoming podcast hosts and having their own shows. Is that these guys have a knowledge that people who watch sports and who study sports will never understand because they don't play those sports as much.
Yeah.
These guys have an in-depth knowledge, and sometimes it's to a fault. Where they overanalyze everything and they're biased in what they're saying, and then they don't have an outsider perspective. But these guys just have information that we will never be able to have.
And I
Yeah.
think what he does that's extra is like sometimes you'll see, I think with Tony Romo and like Jeff Van Gundy, let's say, they went straight from either playing,
Right.
and in Jeff Van Gundy's case, coaching in the league to being the main broadcast person, one of the biggest games every week. And they had insights for the players and specific things. But when that wore out,
They
and
lost
they
it.
lost it. They lost. That was a big part of.
I'm gonna be
what they
super-
so. I think Kisner is more than that. I think his
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah, he's
and
got a
that what he
personality.
brings is enough that I'm not worried about him 3 years from now when he doesn't know the players as well. No
Like Shannon
problem.
Sharp is
Yeah.
just a charismatic person. You
Exactly.
want to see him on TV. He does a very good job. Perkins, same thing. Charismatic guys.
Yeah, because the things I'm seeing Kisner do, it's not so much because he knows the players, it's just because he knows golf.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like
He knows the game.
He's just talking golf. He's just commentating on what he's seeing. But either way, it's not exactly. It's not
This
even
is
about,
out there.
It's not about the little insights he's giving for the player. Just the way
That's
he's
great
on the
too, though.
broadcast.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
cool.
great.
It is fun. It is fun to
I
hear
love
stories.
it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Fun to
But I'm
hear
like, that's not
stories.
what
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
him great. Like the stories are a huge thing for him, but he's just been
Yeah.
You find yourself like
10 out of 10.
like transfixed, like, oh, this is great, and all of a sudden he'll just drop a nugget that you've never thought
He's
about. and be
entertaining.
Like, wow.
Yeah, he's
Like
a good watch.
it's like it's great.
phenomenal. I hope he keeps
You know who?
playing.
All right, let's go into a sport that's actually going on right now. Let's talk NBA really quick.
Can we
This
just
has
talk
been a
Heat only?
Super long podcast. Yes and no. I do want to say that Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland have all clinched the spots in the playoffs.
Oh, I love the wardrobe change for basketball talk. A real jersey. Here we go.
Here we go, dude.
What are we talking? This
Boston.
13?
Chucky Hoops repping.
First time they're most likely going as a top seed since 2016, 2017, where they lost to the Cavs,
Until
LeBron
they faced-
James, when he had Kyrie and Kevin Love. And then last year, obviously, of course, they lost to Miami. Pistons, Spurs, Wizards, and Blazers were all eliminated. Thunder's back in first in the West. NBA, what's going on?
The Thunder are legit, huh?
Thunder are legit, dude. I was high on Shy Guy from the get-go, dude.
Shay's incredible, but
That
do you
guy's-
take them serious as like a title contender?
No, Denver.
Yeah, I just
to
that's
me-
my
to
own
me-
thing. I don't see
To
them
me,
Denver.
to me, and we said
And
it
that's not to
last
take
podcast.
away from OKC. They've
No.
been incredible.
Oh, 100%. I
It's
think
my thing.
I just said they're legit.
So
but
the opposite of March Madness, right? Like
Yeah.
the NBA playoffs, you have to beat these teams.
The best team
4
almost
out of 3
always
times.
wins. Yeah.
So the best team usually always wins, and I don't. Same take as last week. I don't think anybody could beat Denver 4 times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right now,
yeah,
I haven't
exactly.
seen-
They have
I
to stay
haven't
healthy.
seen-
I'm not saying
You
there's
said it
teams
last
I
week.
can't, but I just haven't seen it. So
You said it last week. You said the same
Yeah.
thing.
Until
I
I
agree.
see it.
I agree 100%. I don't see it in the West, except
Until
for
I
the
see
Heat. Except for the Heat, who are in the East, and we'll see them in the finals. Bam's gonna shut Jokic down.
One thing I do want to say that's super interesting, just on a betting standpoint, Orlando Magic are the best team against the spread by a lot, 45 out of 20, 45 to 23. So if you bet on Orlando Magic against the spread, 45 or all their games, you would have won 45 times this season, which is a huge
So
number.
part of the reason why I stopped betting NBA is because I kept losing at the Orlando
Betting.
Magic.
Dude, the
I kept
spread
betting
is
against them.
ridiculous. Dude, that's a wild stat.
Yeah, but at the
Brooklyn
beginning of the
Nets
year,
are
I
on
was
the
like,
opposite
wow, the
side?
Magic, who cares? Like,
I'm
no.
sorry. The Hawks are the worst. You would have lost 23 times to 45 times.
Literally the exact the mirror opposite.
Very interesting because right now we're coming, like we've been talking about, we're not at the end, but we're coming to the end of the season where playoff is big about seedings. So Orlando Magic coming in very hot. They're fighting for that 4 seed. I don't think they'll get it. They'll be close to it, but it's an interesting, I feel like that's going to be a fun bet to go on from here on out. Is I'm going to try to bet every Orlando Magic spread.
I can't get behind that.
That's a fun thing to do.
It's just,
If
I
you
mean,
bet NBA. I only bet the Heat in the NBA now.
thank God,
Dude,
Chucky Hoops
I
went
can't-
against one of my bets. I feel comfortable about this.
I can't explain to you how much money I lost early in the year on NBA. I think I'm just scarred, so I stick to the Heat.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It is what it is. I just thought
But
it
I
was
can't
interesting.
I can get behind those numbers. I don't know Chucky's take on it.
I just thought it was an interesting.
No, it is
Yeah,
crazy
it's
what
just
they've done so far, but
It's an interesting stat, right?
I don't think Vegas is gonna let anyone win 55 times against the spread, though. That would be my worry.
I see what you're saying. You think they're going to screw us because I just said
Not
this on
screw
the
us,
podcast?
but
You think Vegas is?
yeah, they're
this podcast?
listening.
God damn it.
Definitely not.
We
Should've kept that to myself.
move lines. We
Yeah,
move lines.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Too bad though. Sometimes towards the end of this college basketball run, I don't know how many people were getting Chucky Hoops bets, but there was some times where I would see it,
I would post it and then I would go make the bet,
and then I go make the
spread
bet,
already
and the
changed.
line already changed. I'm like, God damn it!
I know, dude. But usually I was able to find it in the alternate bets. I
Yeah,
just
but
put
the
against
line, yeah, but the odds are different already. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You bet it the alternate line.
Other than Denver, Boston, those are obviously the 2 big dogs this year. I mean, for
Championship purposes.
championship versus that's how Boston's playing really. Their offense has freaking been dominated. It's one of the best offenses ever. In a season where it's been the highest scoring in the sense of every NBA game has been one of the highest scoring NBA games. Boston's gone
Two things on that, on what you just said. I want to ask Chucky, I just get his take because I know you and I have talked about both of those things. One, just on the high scoring thing, do you think that we're in the high scoring like year ever in the NBA? Do you think that's detrimental to the league?
I mean,
because of all the defensive rules they've changed, I feel like you almost can't play defense. And two, the second thing is Boston. Everyone's hyped on Boston for the East this year. I've said it. I don't think that as good as they are, I still don't think they get it done in the play when it comes playoff time. Just your take on that.
Yeah,
Just your take on Boston in general. You think they're the real deal this year or not? Finally or not?
Yeah, I'll answer that. But the first one, since the All-Star break, scoring's been down a lot compared to the first half of the year. It's been like they've been like the NBA is like basically admitted that they have directed refs to start calling more things, and it's almost gone the other way in a good way. I think we all want to see a more physical, better defense NBA.
Yeah, we talked about this last podcast a little bit. How they came out and said, Adam Silver came out and said that they directed the refs to also not call as many of the softer fouls on these players that were going to the line as much. So we've seen defenses play more physical games, and guys aren't going to the line as much, which is affecting the total score of the game.
I think that's good for a team like the Heat. I think
absolutely.
It's not as good for
sure.
like a team like the Knicks, let's say, and I only say that because Jalen Brunson is smaller, and I love Jalen Brunson. This is not to denigrate him at all, but just a lot of his game is getting to the line and finishing over taller players and using people scared to foul against them. And if they're able to get more physical with them, I could see that hurting a team like the Knicks. But as far as the Celtics, I think they're legit. I think the question I've had for them all season has been just how healthy they could be. Like, we all know Porzingis, but they're also relying on like a 35-year-old Drew Holiday. Mm-hmm. Al Horford, I think everyone in the playoffs expects him to be an important part of their rotation. And those are three players that I know they've been healthy enough all year and we've seen what they've done. But at the end of the day, I just can't imagine they're going to be 100% healthy this way all the way through June. And I think that's the big bet that they're making. If they stay healthy, to be honest, I don't see anyone in the East really challenging them enough. Obviously, Milwaukee on paper has the potential, offensive potential to find something and get on a run, but they haven't shown it once this year. But if there's any slip up from Boston, obviously the last team they want to see is the Miami Heat. The last thing they want to see is Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, and this man right here, Bam Adebayo.
Jesus Christ. I just faded.
Bam
Adebayo. Wait, real quick before we go anywhere. Boston Celtics, interesting stat. In one possession games in the last 3 minutes, they've been 11-10.
Yeah. And
the reason being is because they're not usually in one possession games. They're usually blowing teams out of the water. But it's still an interesting stat to think like these guys don't really do. And we've talked about it before, how I don't think they're going to do well under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And
talked about it last week.
Statistically, it's showing that. Granted, they don't go under pressure a lot. But it's going to be interesting to see them make a playoff run and see when these teams that they're beating, they're blowing out by usually put up a fight and put closer numbers to see where they're going to end up. Because if you're going in 11-10, you're not getting that many. You're not practicing a lot of those games because you're blowing teams out of the water. It's a stupid argument. But
I don't buy that much of the, like, just looking at the record, because I don't know. And the one possession game, I don't know exactly how they're defining that. I don't know if that's just final score, if that's at some point in that.
The one possession games in the final 3 minutes.
Okay, so at some I will say this. I still, for some reason, listen to Bill Simmons' podcast every time it comes out.
You're a Bill Simmons guy too.
Yeah, I've always been a Bill Simmons fan, just being a sports growing up.
Absolutely.
But it is interesting, like, just listening to the psyche of a Boston sports fan, especially the Celtics this season. And the two things that you can tell worry him the most, like, I think he's confident that they're the best team. But the two things he always comes back to is, number one, their late game offense, like you touched on there in one possession. Do they just get reliant on Jason Tatum? And does Jason Tatum rely on his jump shot too much late and not try to get in deep? And the second thing is just the Miami Heat. He brings it up all the time.
It happened to him last year, right?
Yeah. And look, I don't think we match up nearly as well with them this year as we did last year. I just think their height with Porzingis is just a different animal that we didn't. I went to the Celtics Heat game this year. Was that?
Yeah, I think we went together.
It was shocking to see how much taller the Celtics were across the board, and it bothered us on both ends. But again, that was a fully healthy, on fire Celtics team and a Heat team that was
stumbling on.
Yeah, you see how inconsistent our lineups are game to game. Like it's going to be different for us in the playoffs. At least that's the hope. But if they're missing anyone, look, the Heat know how to get at Boston, and I'll take Spo, Butler, and Bam. Boston will be favored, and they should be. But that's not the team they want to face.
Honestly, I hope they get favored every game like they did last year.
Yeah.
Bring it
That
to
was-
me every.
I
That
don't
was so
mind
much
it
fun.
either. All right, so I had a quick question. This will probably just segue in a bunch of Heat talk because that's what we really love to talk about in NBA. But
On all my notes because I feel like we're just gonna go straight into.
no, you can't. It was just a quick because just talking about the Miami and Boston not wanting to see Miami and all that. But when you look at Miami, and I just recently saw this, I saw somebody post Miami's record against like actual top teams in the East,
It's awful.
or just top teams on both sides too, just like good teams. Brutal. We are 0-4. We don't have a win against any of these top teams, not one.
Yeah,
I don't.
And I know
it's what we're saying.
in
though.
the
It's
past. It
in-season.
hasn't,
It's the in-season Heat.
yeah, it's the in-season Heat, but even in past years, we would see. Yes, we're not beating all these teams, but you'd pick off a Boston win at some point, a Sixers win, or whatever. You just have these games. Even late in the season, you'd have one of those Jimmy Butler games or something. He's at the Garden or whatever. He's just playing against Boston and just wants to go nuts.
I think we just
You
have
see
so
that.
much inconsistency, dude.
Yeah,
With
and-
the guard, it's ridiculous.
And
Like,
I-
there's
We've been super frustrated.
just
What are
every-
we lost 5 out of our last 6?
And we're just so inconsistent, like you said. And I don't think we shouldn't overlearn the lesson from last year being an 8 seed and going via the play and going there. Like
that's not normal.
we played a vulnerable Milwaukee team, found something like we can't rely on that every year. Like I think
this year it's not going to be Milwaukee. It's going to be Boston in the first round. If we go in as the 8th seed, and guess
not
what?
gonna happen. It's
You're
not
not
gonna
beating.
happen
You're
this year
not
like
beating
that.
that Boston team 4-0.
I don't think no.
And even then, if you maybe I think maybe I would even like based on what you were saying, we're hoping Boston isn't as healthy. They're a little more dinged up. You have a better chance of them being more dinged up in the second or even third round of the playoffs where they've had to go through a few tests and these battles in the playoffs than getting a potentially fresh, super fired
I
up
also think
Boston
that's gonna
team
be
locked
huge
in,
issue
one
for
seed,
us.
finally, we're in the playoff. Let's go. That could be a little bit
I
scary
don't have
for
it
the
in
Heat.
front of me, but last year we did really well. In what was the first round? We swept.
no, was it?
I think it was 4.
It was either
I think we
4 or
did.
5.
I think it was out of 5, but I'm not 100%.
The second
but
round,
regardless.
we did really well, and then we
Yeah.
got into Boston. We went to 7. But this year, if we go to 7 games, I just don't think this team is healthy. I don't think they could stay healthy enough. We've seen it all season.
The Heat?
The Heat. They're just getting hurt. Like it would be in the guards. Jimmy's rolling ankles. He's got weak. His ankles are weaker, and I don't know if it's a carry on from last year, and it's just carrying on this season.
Might just be age, man. He's, not
He's
a
getting
player
older.
anymore. His window gets
He's getting
smaller
older.
every
and
single
I know
year.
I talk a lot of shit about him, but truthfully, Bam has been the most available.
Say it.
reliable.
Reliable.
Oh, reliable.
Yeah, he shows up. His
I
availability.
thought we were about to get a Bam compliment there.
I did. I am.
You were
I am.
trying
I'm
to,
saying
yeah.
he's the most available Heat
Most
player.
available Heat player. Come on.
That's a great ability.
That's a
great ability.
compliment
The best
for the heart
ability
and
is
soul of the
availability.
team. For the heart and soul of the team.
Oh God.
No, I want to get into it. Everybody but you wants to get into this.
Listen. I don't know if that team could handle going to maybe
We can't. You can't be this inconsistent. I don't care if we did it last
and go
year.
deep into the playoffs.
You can't roll
Multiple.
that same dice
Yeah.
every time. And Spoelstra himself talked about it all off season and this season that we can't do the same thing. Yet, as you're saying right now, we're in the 8th seed,
Yeah.
and we're 3 back, but there's only 14 games left.
Yeah,
So,
and we're fighting to get out of it. I don't see us a way of getting out of it.
I mean, you expect us to pass an Embiid-less Sixers, but then we lost to them this week.
We lose to them.
We
Exactly.
barely beat the Pistons.
barely
We
beat the
barely
Pistons.
the Wizards game.
these games that we should be dominating,
so-
really right now is when we really pick up our steam and we really start showing.
But we've
getting our
never really
lines.
done that. Like like when we've been a high seed and things like that, it's more been the whole season. Like
Yeah,
it's been more consistent. It's only
play.
been 1 year when we missed the playoffs where we had like that awful beginning of the year, and then with James Johnson and
Right.
Dion Waiters, we just caught fire.
Yeah,
at the end it went
I
like
remember that.
29 and
Yeah.
10 or something crazy. But
No, I'm not saying so much to get like a high playoff seed. I'm saying right now, like usually we start seeing
Start seeing better basketball from the Heat.
Our lines come
Our
in.
lineups, our rotations, or
Start seeing playoff lineups. Start seeing how they're going to start utilizing people. Right now, it's hard to find someone to start every freaking game. Duncan Robinson blew up. What was it against the Sixers?
He's had a good season. Like
He's
this
had
is
a
really
great
has.
season. He talk about it.
it's been his best 2-point
talk about a turnaround.
season. Yeah.
he's had a great season.
He's had a great
I
season.
think a lot of it,
huge
and
games.
I don't even say this to bring up the Bam thing. I think a lot of it is Bam
And
being able to
the ball.
play 5-out offense with Bam at center has opened it up for Duncan Robinson, and like Bam's been really good in that role.
Yeah, he's been
of,
giving the
like,
ball. A lot of his.
there's not many centers who could like play make like he can, and that helps a Duncan Robinson.
There's a few centers that can play man.
There's Nikola Jokic, but we're talking about the best passer
that's
of all
always
time.
Kevin's go-to. Yeah. Oh, Jokic. Yeah, no shit.
No, I love Sabonis now too. Sabonis is playing phenomenal.
You think Sabonis is better than Bam Adebayo? Maybe for a regular season,
No.
if you want to say it, fine. But
Regular season, Bam Adebayo is best center in the.
no, he's
in the
not.
NBA.
He's a better postseason
No, I do.
player.
I never talk shit about Bam Adebayo in the during the season. I always say
He's a better
postseason.
postseason player than regular season.
no, he's not.
Better postseason.
He's soft. He's not.
He's the opposite of soft. You can't realistically like say he's soft.
You guys are gonna start throwing stats out there, and I'm gonna tell you, he doesn't pass
No.
the eye test.
He
Doesn't pass it.
That's it.
Bro, get your eyes checked. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Rolled. He gets rolled by every. So yeah, I don't think that he could take down Boston at full strength.
Right.
I just don't see us. I don't see that team right now. They're not playing that way. They were not healthy that way. I would love to say yes and be super confident in it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying if we're fully healthy and we're playing on all cylinders, yeah, we could take it to Boston as better than most since we have the physicality to do it and we're better coached than most. But we haven't played like that. So right now I'm low on the Heat in the sense that I'm not confident we're going to get out of this seed. Pacers are playing really well. It's like we're both fighting for the 7 and 8. So it's
No, I agree. Like we have 14 games to change how we're playing. And it seemed like post All-Star break, Jimmy came back on fire. And
Yeah,
we had
and then he
a
just
good
died out on
2x
us.
stretch. And then the last 2 weeks, back to inconsistent play, back to playing close games
Injuries.
against no matter who we play. It's
Butler's been out for 2 games. I don't trust this Heat team, if that makes sense. I think they have all the ability in the world. They're just not playing to their potential.
I don't know if we have all the ability. I think we've overachieved
Overachieved
in
ability that we
years.
have. I think we have
And we're
great
not
coaching,
overachieving in
fair.
the same way.
You're absolutely right. I do how Patty Mills is playing. He's not getting a lot of points, but he's playing well. I think he's working.
But look
well
what we're
with the
talking about.
program.
We're talking about Patty
Yeah,
Mills
I mean,
having to be in Haywood Heisman has to be like an important player for us game in, game.
I know.
Like those are guys you're hoping to rely on once every 5 games. And like
And we're
obviously
leaning.
Jaquez earlier in the year was incredible
got
for a
hurt.
rookie.
He got
hurt. Come back. He hasn't been like quite the same player. Still a guy I trust a lot. But you shouldn't.
Do you think he's just still fighting the injury?
No,
a little
I
bit?
just
They call it the rookie wall.
Yeah.
It's a lot of rookies in February and March hit a wall where they're not used to working.
Yeah, they're not
Playing
used to
this long of a
they-
season.
Yeah,
Long
they're
of
not
a
used to the
season
NBA
and-
season, the travel, the
They call it the
lifestyle.
rookie wall. Obviously, there's
yeah.
rookies like the rookies that stand out usually play through it,
Specimens,
especially on
yeah.
shittier teams like Wemby over there is playing great, but he's on a crappy team. They have nothing. They're not playing for anything anymore.
Yeah, you're also talking about generational talent.
Exactly. So hey, listen, Hawkins is generational.
Hey,
I
I
love-
love.
I
Trust
love
me,
Hawkins. I love
he
Hawkins.
has been my
Hawkins.
favorite player on this Heat team.
Oh
like,
my gosh,
we
dude.
were hammering those overs.
Oh,
early in the
baby.
season.
God.
That was fun.
That beginning of the season was so fun. You remember that? Just
Yeah.
The
every
beginning-
single week.
As good as the beginning of the season was to bet on the Heat, this end it's been awful, dude. It's been awful.
Brutal. So if it wasn't for college basketball, I would be.
Oh, so negative.
I would.
kitchen
So,
line.
oh my god.
Soup, dude. It would
Oh
be bad.
my god. I would be honest. I'd be selling. Yeah, I would have sold my house. Like,
Yeah, I just don't know. Not to go back to the Heat. They're all right.
Yeah.
They're all right.
Like we should have spent more time talking about Milwaukee and what they could
Milwaukee.
be.
I think Milwaukee's got a lot of talent. I think if once their
Cleveland's been playing really well lately.
so my biggest thing was Milwaukee, and lately they've been having good defense, but historically for the rest of the season they haven't. They've been awful. They're one of the worst defenses.
Yeah.
But when their defense shows up, they're phenomenal. They have all the offensive talent. Giannis and Dame are ballers. We talked a little bit how Dame has no defensive skill.
Yeah. That's,
in the world,
That's always been Dame.
Yeah, that's always been his skill. But Milwaukee's a lot of fun to watch. Who else? Like we said, Magic playing really well.
Cleveland's
A lot of fun to watch.
playing well.
Cleveland's really good. I think Cleveland just doesn't have.
No, yeah, they're not a team I trust.
Yeah, they're a
in
bunch of
playoffs,
like.
but they should win a series this year.
They
in
should win a
way,
series. They're probably going to. I think they're locked
any
in
of
for
these
sure.
teams can take
Yeah.
Boston in a seven.
No.
Maybe Milwaukee.
No, but
I think
that's-
Milwaukee.
So-
Like you said, if their defense shows up a little bit,
If you're making the case for Milwaukee, like you're saying, throw out everything Adrian Griffin did. He switched up their schemes completely defensively. They were like giving up defensive transition points like crazy, which makes no sense for a team that historically, Budenholzer has a name. That Budenholzer's like had them one of the best teams at that. And they switched up their schemes, made it simple, and their defense, I think, come playoff time might be rounding into form. And then in a way they have it in the regular season, if they start just spamming Giannis and Dame pick and rolls,
Oh,
you can
they just
see-
started it. They just started the picking rolls.
Yeah,
Have you been
like-
watching the last few games?
No, I haven't watched.
Oh
them
my God, they're
But,
using it like every other play. It's amazing.
That's like one of those like just low hanging fruits that it's just like how have they not pushed that button? I
Yeah.
get that if you're Giannis, you're used to getting played through a little more, so you don't want to be the one setting picks and being off the ball and stuff like that. But I think when it comes down to it, that's going to be their highest ceiling is doing that. Like we've said it on paper, Giannis is this great defender, great player, but like his Achilles heel has always been down the stretch because of his free throw shooting and things like that. And then you just come in with a guy who's one of the best offensive players, especially in the clutch of his generation, and Dame.
yeah, he's
Lillard.
known for being clutch.
And now he
Yeah.
gets. They should cover up each other's weaknesses perfectly. Now, things on paper don't always work out that way.
Sure.
But maybe some of that, what we saw, the potential in the offseason, starts to show itself. That's, I think, the case you can try to make if you're trying to squint and see something against Boston.
Yeah, I think the East is just Boston dominant. It's so top heavy. You have Milwaukee. You have maybe Pacers are playing up, but I don't know if they could take on Milwaukee.
Honestly,
or,
I think it's really.
just Boston. Over
And
Milwaukee.
I guess you could say if the Sixers with Embiid when they were fully healthy,
But he's not coming back.
but he's not. And if he comes back, he's not going to be safe.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
West, though, I think it's a little more interesting. I still think Denver, the class of the NBA.
They're standing out. We said Denver.
Yeah, Denver, easy to class. I think obviously the Clippers, everyone would pretty much have number 2.
Yes.
I think ultimately to beat Denver, you need firepower.
I
You're
like
not
the
going to be
Mavs.
able to shut them down. The Mavs make sense on paper
I
because
like the Mavs.
They
I
have
like
that
the Mavs a
2-man
lot.
touch.
I like the Mavs a lot. I like the Thunder a lot.
I like a lot of teams in the West. The
I like
problem
the
is
Thunder a lot. I think Shane. I don't know Minnesota.
no. Good team. They've had a
Good team.
good season. Ant has taken a step.
I don't think. I think with
I-
when they
Rudy
lost
fits
Towns,
in a lot
I
better. But
love
I think when
Ant,
they-
by the way.
Yeah.
He's like my favorite
dude,
player in
such
the
a
NBA.
beast.
dude, what he's
Oh
done
my
since Towns
God.
has gotten out, he's been
Yeah,
must see
yeah.
television.
I
Yeah.
That
love
block,
That dunk.
that dunk, and that block to seal the game. Those are two of the highlights of the season.
Those were
His dunks in general. The guy has so many
No.
poster
Wild.
dunks that are like
It's crazy. He's must watch.
he's
right now.
much watch.
Must watch.
I would trade.
I think
trade
losing
Bam
Cat
for him.
was huge for them.
Yeah, even with Cat, it's not a team I trust. At the end of the day, I like Conley, and he brings something to them, like just like a maturity that they don't have outside of that.
Yeah.
But
Warriors are weak this year.
yeah, Warriors, Lakers. I know you watch any ESPN program, they want to make that happen. It's just not gonna happen.
Anthony Davis and LeBron, they're to me one of those guys that show up in the playoffs when you need them to. I just don't know if their auxiliary players can get them there.
I just think they're showing up already in the regular season. Like I don't think the Lakers are a very good team.
But I think LeBron hasn't gone into that gear yet.
It's not to hate on LeBron or.
No,
or
I'm not
Davis.
because like even if he
It's-
did, like
he's
he
a
just,
great
the
player.
Lakers.
It's just like
he could have a
there's-
40-point triple double. I still think they would lose.
like other than LeBron the name, I don't think there's anything to look at their profile of a team and say this is a team that can make noise, especially when you see how stacked the West is.
Yeah.
Like
Again, I don't think anybody compares
yeah.
against Denver.
But if Denver gets hurt, it'll be fascinating to see
Dude,
because there's
if
a
Jovi
lot
goes
of good
down,
teams.
Denver
Or Murray
literally-
goes down.
or
Murray's
Jamal
some
Murray
injury.
literally thinks he's the best player in the NBA, which
But-
I love about him.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
I love
about
I
him.
love that. Yeah, I love
I
that.
love that about him. But when he thinks he's the best player on their team, that's wild. That's
Dude, Jokic is so good.
He's so
crazy.
He's a
unbelievable.
freaking.
It's
freak.
obnoxious how
He's a
good he
freaking,
is,
and he's so chill about it. He's just
and how like
nonchalant.
not even that. Just like he just does it like the complete opposite of everyone else in the NBA. It's like the complete opposite game of the modern NBA, and he just
Well,
is better than
like,
everyone.
All right, this has been like a super long pack.
Yeah,
It really has. Can we just
And it's
let's
fucking
end
late, dude.
yeah.
I think we should just call it here.
I think
Any
it's been a
final
great,
takes?
It's been a great pod.
I know you have a Masters update.
Oh yeah, big one. Brooks is at plus 2,000. That's disrespectful.
He
at this
stepped up.
point.
What was that?
Hideki
4 points.
46.
He was
400
at,
points.
he was at plus what 1,600. He went 14, then 16. Now he's at 2,000. So that's the big jump you're looking for. Hammer that. If it gets worse, hammer it again.
keep
Masters week, he's
hammering.
going to be below that, guaranteed.
What happens when he loses?
It doesn't matter. That's part of the game. You get the odds now, and then sure. Chucky, last
Chucky
thoughts.
Hoops, last
Just one sentence is Bam Adebayo is a good player, and it's time that someone on this podcast said so. He's a big part of why the Heat have been the Heat the last couple of years.
I just want to come out and saying that I've always said he's a great in-season player.
That makes no sense. He's been so good in the playoffs, and he's better than anyone else of his age cohort.
I said what I said. I never said he was a bad player. I said he was a good in-season player.
My last thoughts are 64 bets, baby.
63.
63.
Yeah, but I bet one tonight.
That's 67.
I was like, all right, I'm in.
Let's do it. Let's ride. All right, guys. We're just going to close up here. Remember, make sure you like, follow anywhere you watch us, anywhere you listen to us. Also, keep an eye out. We'll put in an official bracket for us out there, and we'll also have picks from Chucky Hoops and from Og the Dog all throughout the tournament. Make sure you guys follow us.
Also, thanks for having Chucky Hoops coming on.
Yeah, Chucky Hoops.
Thank you guys for having me. It was
You're
really
more than
fun.
welcome coming anytime.
I think we've talked about it a little. We haven't scheduled when, but we're definitely going to have both of them probably at different times. We'll have about throughout the tournament.
We'll come switching out for
break down the
deeper
action, some of the
tournaments.
bigger games as we get into the tournament.
Yeah.
So we'll have a couple more episodes like this. Should be fun.
Awesome. All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to First Step. We told you we don't take this too seriously, didn't we? I'd say we've proven that. Yes, we love sports, and we love sports betting. But we like the funner side, not the stuffy side. We hope you had a blast like we did. If so, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram and TikTok at First Step Bets. See you next time on First Step.